hello all you archaeologists. I'm the John Strutt. And I'm having a Stanley Parable adventure. What time is it? Does anyone really truly know? Of course they don't. Nobody knows anything. You and I don't even know each other. We're like strangers. Sure, I've adjusted all the game settings to your exact specifications, but who hasn't? It's just what I do, like a day job. And now, the job is over. There's no more information for me to gather. I've collected all the data on you that I can. And I still don't really know you. And you don't know me. Neither of us know what time it is. I guess some settings are just unsettable. But if I'm being totally honest, the clock doesn't do anything in this game anyway. You won't have me here when the game starts next time, but that's okay. Video games were meant to be played alone. There's too many people here for this game. You like being alone, don't you? Called out. That's maybe the only information I've really learned about you. Well, it's time for me to leave. There's still one more setting that we need to adjust, but it may take a little time before I'm ready for that. It's not really in my job description, but that's okay. Perhaps you'll see me again, if you can find me. Talk soon. Oh, there's an epilogue. Ooh. Right. I don't know if Framble is still here. There's stuff I can do before clicking the epilogue, so I will leave that for the time being. We have to fulfill our bucket list. Yeah, I played for like 6 hours.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Okay. I'm going to do all the bucket endings
Stanley
first.
worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Yay!
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I don't know how much I've actually got left to do. So, I know I went out my way to do all the original endings as well. So when I say I've been playing for 6 hours, most of that was me painstakingly doing all the stuff from the original game. One thing I haven't done is I haven't done the cheat ending where you have to change the console. And I don't know if you can do that, but that's not going to have a bucket ending, presumably. So I don't have to worry about that. I'm trying to think of what bucket endings.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yes. So we've done this.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Unity, yes. Well, I don't know how if yeah. So I don't know if there's an equivalent, Unity equivalent or not. Right.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
Ah, fair enough. Did you see the, Did you play all the original endings as well? Because at least one of them has changed.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Right, I believe we've done all the buckets on the left. Oh, no, there's a couple I haven't done. Okay, cool. Alright, so I very much enjoyed the new endings, but my favourite one...
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
So I thought it was clever, like, how do you double the amount of endings without putting a tree on top of a tree? And so, like, when you get to the new content and you do the hole, it puts you at the start. And I was like, oh, that's how they do it. They've added a new hub. But then they gave you this bucket. And I was like, okay, that's kind of clever as well, that I can re-explore the endings with the bucket. But the best ending, the best bit's all connected to either to getting in the new content, obviously, and collecting all the statues. But outside of that, the best ending is finding a little secret vent, which I just did by chance. Oh, my game just crashed. I didn't mean to press that. Anyway, luckily, we didn't hear 10 minutes worth of dialogue, but I am having a cursed stream right now, which I don't appreciate. Yeah, I don't know why this game... Like, so it's this and Tunic just don't like my OBS at all. I get a 3000 error, but, like, when you ask what a 3000 error is, you know what? It might be full screen... It might be full screen doing it. Might be a second. Just need to make sure my OBS is on. Anyway, yes, well, very cool. I didn't do very much. I was just talking. We won't listen to the intro again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
I mean, I love...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest
and
entered the door on his
I'm
left.
covering the sticker that says Property of Stanley. I didn't realise that. I should have perhaps put myself on the other side. Although the writing's not set up to go there, so I'm not going to...
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to
Don't think I've done the confusion ending yet.
No, said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
So yeah, this is over here is my favourite ending. Down there. Okay, I can't remember. So I've gone down there and I've answered the phone.
Good,
said the bucket.
But I haven't pulled
now
the plug
ride the
on the
lift
phone.
all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Because there's only
Stanley
one
did
ending
not
down
question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
there. So yeah, I might only have a couple of endings left. I didn't really consider this.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it, but there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I mean, it's remarkably close to how I actually tell jokes.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
So I'm reminded at work, I can't remember the joke somebody made, but I distinctly remember going up to them afterwards, it would have been Nick, and telling him, "Oh, you know, there's a character called Man Bat. You could have used Man Bat instead of whatever he said." It's like, that would have been correct, because then you would have used an actual character from the Rogue Scout. Don't you see how that would have improved your joke? You would have used the... It wasn't appreciated. I mean, he knows me well enough to be like, no, obviously, but like, no, it would have been better. But I also appreciate that, like, the actual legitimate accuracy probably wasn't that important to the joke, but it would have been slightly better.
This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke? Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
I can't help but notice that somebody's added these little safety barriers. I have not done the bucket version. Should I do that next? Okay, I'll do that next.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Oh, does it matter which door I go through?
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
I need to have to... I'm going to have
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a
okay.
set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Okay, I need to get further.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
I had to test it. Because it could have been one of those ones you had to do it 3 times.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley.
Oh, God. No.
I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are.
Don't crash. It didn't crash that much. Ah, that's the worst time to crash. I'll do this in my own time. I'm assuming it was about to end, but because this is how the last version ended. But it's still a really annoying time to crash. No, it's literally it's something to do with the relationship with my full screen programs and OBS. It happens specifically with Tunic. It's like I'm getting right now because it crashes the game and it crashes my Twitch player because I get an error 3000 And if I look up the error 3000, it's saying about my browser's cache and cookies, and it's like, cool, that wouldn't crash my PC. Like, so I don't know what's causing it, but no, I mean, I reset my computer. There are no background programs on right now. I've done it with, it will do it without the Twitch program on, and I do it so I can have at least one person watching me at all times, me, so I can tell if I'm working. I need to be able to see me streaming so I know I'm streaming properly. But serious games, let's turn it off and back on again. But yeah, even if I turn the browser off, it will crash, because I tested that with Tunic. Yeah, it's really weird. It wasn't that bad before though. It wasn't like getting, like, sometimes it goes for hours and sometimes I only goes for 10 minutes. I don't think it's a Stanley Parable thing. I think it's I don't know what it is. I've been... Yeah, it might be OBS. Okay. Well, I missed a tiny bit of that ending, but I think...
This is the...
Yeah. Right, so I've got to duck out of the room at the last second, don't I?
Co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
So there is one thing...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I think the endings are very funny, but the thing about the original game, and I get that you can't repeat this, is that it doesn't really matter what order you played the game. Like, every sort of ending sort of revealed, like, oh, this is the true story of what's going on, until you realise that, like, choices mean you, like, it's the multiple choice, they're all contradict to each other. But, like, especially that one ending where he reveals himself to be evil, but then you're like, no, it doesn't matter which ending because they all mean something different. And the bucket endings haven't been great for that.
No one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort.
Because a lot of them have just been jokes.
Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yeah, this might take me several attempts. I'm not very good at doing this. I want to go in really slowly.
Stepping into his manager... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace.
Yeah, but they didn't have to choose bucket.
Yet delicate, assertive, yet compassionate.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was...
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again...
I had it, and then I didn't commit.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Stanley's bucket, the only co-worker he would ever truly need.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping in.
First time. Oh, fuck off, game! Unless this is... playing on hard mode. Like last time when I played it, I got through the endings. It wasn't interrupting. It was like once every couple of hours it happened. So I legitimately have no idea why after a fresh thing. Anyway, that's still really annoying. It's the skill element. Really wants me to do the epilogue. I'm a bit worried because I don't know. Like, what happens if it crashes during the epilogue?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Like,
perhaps he had...
blaming the game, but I don't know what's
out
doing,
the bucket?
obviously.
Really Stanley at all? No, surely not. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I mean, you can tell how many times it crashed because when I started the stream, I only got the final text then. If that makes any sense.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find out. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I don't know why I always assume I can do that and I never can.
Stepping in.
First time. Right. Could put it back on the pedestal. John, don't click on things. Is this the ending? Okay. Yeah, I thought you might be a little behind. Is it going to be suddenly important for you to be able to react quickly? I need to turn more on my lantern. be a terrible time for a crash. Ooh. I thought he was just going to place that there. Oh, he is. Godspeed, Bucket. So, those are the same chords as the Kingdom Hearts theme as well? Right.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I mean, I don't know why.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
The Bucket's clearly a terrifying demon murderer. Oh no! The Bucket's got... Oh, hang on. What we do...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't know what to do now. But I've not finished all the Bucket endings.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Alright, fine, I've done the broom ending already.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What do I do now?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
I've already
What
done...
he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
How do I get the Bucket back?
Yet incredibly, by simply
Oh
pushing
yeah, I've done
random
everything here.
buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, you know what? There is something I technically wanted to do. But yeah, I did all the original endings already on stream. I had a couple of Bucket ones left.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Well, technically I left this
Although
place
this
without...
passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Yeah, I accidentally restarted here rather than think. But yeah,
The door behind him was not shut.
I'm trying to think.
Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
I think there's one bucket ending I've not seen. I'll have to think. We may have gotten lucky and seen them all already.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that
No,
his
I'm
life
not.
had been
Yeah,
of
I've not
no
done the
consequence
confusion.
whatsoever.
I've not gone down in that
Stanley
middle
can't
room
see
yet
the bigger
with the
picture.
bucket.
He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Where's the way out of here? Yeah, because last time I manually restarted because I couldn't remember how to get out. Ah, there we go.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But
There we
listen
go.
to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
There we go. So I collected that ending. I don't know if the game knows if I've done the endings or not. Because if it does know, then I have to repeat one of the bucket endings as well.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Yeah, we got a
Perhaps he had
replacement book here.
simply missed a memo.
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
I think this is our final ending. And then the epilogue. The best thing about losing the bucket was me going, oh, but what am I going to do without the bucket? I need the bucket.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
You just told me
we
not
could
to
make the
lose
Adventure
it.
Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Is it just going to come back to this room?
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh,
Da
and
da
it
da
played some silly
da
music as
da
well.
da.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original?
No.
Also, Stanley's addicted to drugs and hookers. It's as classic now as it was back then.
Let's do this quickly.